Do you feel like no matter what you do or how hard you work or how much time you put into trying to be good at something, things don't seem to work out? Or it feels like you're in an uphill battle? And then you look around and you feel like there's some other people where things are actually working out for them. And you feel like, damn, how come things are just seeming like they're like easy for other people? But for me, it seems like everything is so hard. And there's this old saying where they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And in today's time, it couldn't be more true. And I'll give an example from life experiences of my own. Anytime I've ever gotten a job or anytime I ever got an advantage in the workforce or something that I was trying to do or pursue, the only time that I was given a chance to be ahead was when somebody that I knew helped me get the job, or somebody that I knew was already there and they put in a good word for me. And so, in order for me to ever get a job or any job that I've ever gotten, it was usually through those circumstances where somebody I knew got hired, they had an opening, they told me about it, so I put the application in, and then they put a good word in for me, and I got the job. And in previous times, I wasn't alive, but it seemed as though people were able to live at a higher standard of living, meaning like the middle class of America was much larger because you could go and get a job at a gas station, or you could work your way up at a fast food restaurant and make a life for your family. And you guys were able to take 1 to 2 vacations a year, and you could have 4 kids and take care of all of them. And your wife could choose to work or not. But in today's time, it seems as though the middle class has shrunk and the poorer class has gotten a lot bigger. And it seems like there's nothing that we can really do about it because all of the people who are in places to do the hiring or put you in a position to win and give you an opportunity to show your skill set, you don't know those people. And those people kind of keep it in the family and they keep it amongst their own group. And so the opportunities seem to be scarce, no matter what your educational background is. And it's something that I like kind of looked into a little more, and I started noticing, like, just as like a metaphor, like a small piece of an example is like when you think about sports, a lot of times in sports, you'll see that this was the son of somebody, and they'll be a junior or a third or a fifth, and or a cousin of somebody. And they found out once they made it to the league, they were cousins, like Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter. And when you start to pay attention to everything around you, you start to realize that the same families are getting the same opportunities to progress their family. And so it's like the money seems to stay within the same families. And maybe this is just a microcosm. Maybe I'm just seeing it through the lens of my own life. But like you look at NBA players and like they're all sort of related in some way. Or you look at NFL players and they're all somehow, some way related. And like, you don't even got to take my word for it. Like, I was looking this up already. Look, basically 50% of NBA players are related to current or former elite athletes. Most notably, people will talk about Bronny James or whatever. But this is something that is well known. Like, people are within family lines or bloodlines that are together. And you could say, hey, maybe it's because these families just have the best work ethic, and because they made it, they can teach their children or, you know, their nephew how to make it, which would be a valid argument. But it also begs the question is like, how is it that it seems that it's kind of continuous? Like, there's not very many opportunities that are given to bloodlines and families that aren't related to somebody in some sort of way. It's clear that family connections are a significant aspect of the league's history and present. This is the NFL. It says, you know, it says 2.5% of players had a brother in the league during the period. So out of 1,700 players, 2.5% of them might be brothers or related in some way. And when you think about politics and you think about even little things, like my uncle and my mom would tell me about how when they went to the same high school that I went to, they had like trades that you could work on while you were in high school. You know, you could learn to be a welder. You could learn how to work on cars, different things like that. And these opportunities were pushed into the workforce. It was the working man who made America go. And that's what made us a great country. And what changed is when those opportunities were taken away. And so by the time I got to high school, all you could do was go to school. I mean, your elective would be art or, you know, something along those lines. And so you question, like, it seems as though everything has been monopolized. And I can go back to the point of maybe these weren't the greatest jobs. Usually they were like restaurant jobs or working at a hotel. But like, even in my own life, the only time that I've ever been given an opportunity for a job was usually when I knew somebody. Or maybe the job that I did get, it was because maybe they just needed a quota of a certain amount of type of people there. But when I did get into these jobs, there was, you know, a glass ceiling. There was never going to be more of an opportunity for me to make more or to make a better living, even though the price of everything is going up, because those positions were given to other people that they knew. And so now we've gotten to a point in life where it's pretty much the haves and the have-nots. And if you're not a part of the haves, then you're a have-not. And even if you know somebody who was able to, back in the day, go to school, get a good job, make 100 to 300K. Those people aren't really in a position to open up opportunities for you, because usually somebody that they know who they work with has already given out that opportunity. And it's not based upon merit anymore. And it's kind of become a known thing that it's not based upon merit. Like at work, everybody kind of knows what's happening in the favoritism and a little bit of nepotism that takes place at work. But everybody feels like there's nothing we can do about it. So our best bet is to just keep our head down, do our job, and, maybe try to go get another job. And that's if that job is hiring. And then you put in an application to try to get that job, and you're competing amongst other people who are competing for that job who may or may not have worked with somebody in the past or know somebody. And your opportunities are limited. And it's no longer based upon merit and skill and execution. And maybe it's always been this way and they just lied to us. But it seems that the opportunities are being in a chokehold for making your life be better. And, they tell you to go to school, go to college. And then if you go to college, then you end up like being in debt. And I know a lot of people who got college degrees who are looking for jobs just like me. And now you are in debt to pay for something and you can't really get a job. And then if you do get a job, you're in debt for a long time, unless you grew up in a family that already had money. So then being able to leave school without debt is a greater chance. Or maybe you were good at sports and maybe that allowed you to get into school somewhere. But then those opportunities are limited because, as we can see from the stats, most people are related. So it's like, even if you do get to college, it's like, well, you got to know somebody to first of all, you have to be extremely really good, right? And that means that you have to have the time and the effort and really the family to be able to work on your craft. And that's why it makes sense that families are the reason why your opportunity arises. And so if you come from nothing, it's harder to make something of yourself. When I was a child, the American dream was to start with whatever you start with, whether you started with nothing or a little bit, and you could make something of yourself and be somebody that you're proud of. But it seems in today's America that that's no longer what is. And they've crafted us in such a way where we feel like there's nothing we can do about it anyway. I'll leave with this thought. They had the ICE raids going on, and I was talking with somebody and I was telling them, us going out and being in the streets and protesting looks and sounds nice, but it doesn't really get anything done. And I said to them, if we really wanted to do something about it, or if somebody wanted to really do something about anything in the world that is happening, what if collectively we all just said, oh, we're not going to go to work today until things change? But how many people would really do that? And the feeling is, well, if I don't go to work, somebody else will go and take my job and then I'll have nothing. You know, we've been mentally crafted into our somewhat slavery to the system that doesn't reward us back. And it seems like the lazier you are, the more you get rewarded. And if you are extremely into doing something, then you're rewarded. But the reward for those people is kind of far in between. And I guess we could say the same for the poor. You know, it's just something to think about, where if we really wanted to bring back the America that our families and our ancestors grew up in, where things were good and people looked at America as the greatest country, and that's why they wanted to come here. And it's not just a safe haven for people that are extremely rich and somewhat of a hell for those who don't, then we would have to somewhat have a collective thought about how we're going to go about it. But we can't do that with voting because we're divided there. And we can't do that in the workforce because we're competing against one another. And we can't do that within family because either your family doesn't have anything, or the people that do have something are holding on to what they have. And we're no longer, it feels like, the greatest country in the world. And it's sad because you get taught this nationalism and you believe in the country that you're from because you believe that it gives every man an equal opportunity and every woman an equal opportunity to make the best of themselves and give to the world whatever skill set that they have. And it doesn't seem to be that way. Maybe there's hope and maybe there's not hope, but it seems like, you know, AI is coming along, a lot of different things are coming along where more and more people are going to be losing jobs, and the people that helped build America are no longer, they're going to be invisible. The people that are the blood of this country are going to be invisible. And what happens when you don't have blood? So those are my thoughts for today. Stay suave and stay stupid. Always be willing to learn. Boss man out.